Howard has been risking his entire career and possibly his life. He discovered something that may revolutionize our entire existence.
I don't care what happens. I'm here to bring the truth at whatever cost that comes with it. And they don't want you to know that, because then you will know, and this is going to make them angry. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to war. So I challenge any chemist, any physicist, any astrophysicist, any cosmologist, any biologist, anyone within the fields of science to come and challenge me. These are proofs. This isn't theories anymore. Theories are written out and need to be proven. These are geometric proofs.
Before we delve deeper into the concept he's explaining, let me share something very interesting that truly caught my attention. After making all the information public, Terence faced significant criticism and ridicule in the mainstream media. Interestingly, a typical pattern is observed. First is ridicule.
Platonic solids?
Right. Aren't you getting a star?
He's rebuilding the universe. You go, well, you get the star.
Initially, the person's ideas or statements are mocked, making it challenging for them to be taken seriously by others. Second event, opposition.
But if you go by your logic, and if you define beforehand that something, logically it makes the most sense that 1 times 1, and then that's where the mathematical convention comes in, and that's most large part of math is convention. It's how it has been defined. It's a matter of definition.
With that thing that I showed you, did you look at the square root of 2? Do you think that that's a loop, that's a natural thing with the square root of 2? Did you believe that?
Pi, there's not a mathematical...
No, it's not the same though. It's not the same with pi. What we just did, we multiplied it, we cubed the number, and then we divided it by 2, and we cubed it again and divided it by 2, and we did that a number of times, and that number still remained the same exact number, which we know cannot happen.
The third one is acceptance. There's a potential final stage where the public's perception begins to shift. The ideas or the person that were once ridiculed and opposed might start to see some level of acceptance.
Terence Howard, the guy who interviewed me for Rolling Stone, told me that Terence Howard is like a legitimate genius. You talk to the guy is absolutely brilliant.
Besides what Joe Rogan said, Terence has recently garnered a lot of attention and numerous views on YouTube. 3 million views here, 2.8 million there, 1.4 million, 1.3 million, and many more. This says a lot. Perhaps he's right and we haven't realized it yet. Let's analyze the entire concept. Please pay close attention and rewind if you feel you didn't keep up with the information.
All of our math is based upon approximation, unrealistic things. And that's why they're angry at me, because I'm upsetting their cart. But in order for us to advance to a level 1 society, a level 1 civilization, we have to abandon the lie. No matter how attached to it we are, no matter how much, if you find out that the foundation of your house is about to crack and you've got many, many stories of generations on top of it, you pull all those people out and you fix that foundation. They don't want to do that with our math. They would rather let us die. I'm here. I don't care what happens. I'm here to bring the truth at whatever cost that comes with it. But the truth is here. That's why I put the book out for free.
In his book, which you can find at tcotlc.com, on the first page, he mentions something shocking about our math system. Allow me to enlighten you. If 4 divided by 2 is the inverse operation of 2 times 2 equaling 4, then it would naturally follow that 2 divided by 1 is the inverse operation of 1 times 1 equaling 2. What does your common sense tell you about these two scenarios? What do they have in common and what are their differences? Division. The number 4 is divided by 2 twice, and the truth is the number 2 is divided by 1 twice. Addition. 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. Subtraction. 4 minus 2 equals 2, and 2 minus 1 equals 1. Multiplication. 2 times 2 equals 4, and 1 times 1 equals 1. Can you see where the mistake has occurred?
Do you know how I figured it out? What's 1 times 1?
1 times 1 is 1.
To multiply means to do what? To make more, right?
Yes.
Increase in number?
Yes.
Multiply?
Yes.
How can 1 times 1 equaling 1 be part of the multiplication table? It was to satisfy the term multiply. It doesn't multiply.
Terence explains that multiplication involves making more or increasing in number. When one object exerts a force on another, the second object also exerts a force in return on the first object. Similarly, if one object applies pressure to another, the second object responds with pressure exerted back onto the first object. For example, take a calculator and input the number 2, followed by finding its square root. The result will be approximately 1.414213562373095. Now perform Perform two different actions with this result, multiplied by 2, and raise it to the power of 3. Both actions yield the same value, 2.82842712174690. Now divide the result by 2 and cube it again, and you will get the same value again. It shows how different mathematical operations on the same number can yield unexpected yet consistent results.
You see that, Lou?
Yeah.
That's saying x cubed is equal to 2x, which is equal to x plus x. That's an unnatural equation. That's a mathematical fallacy. And that's the beginning of your math. Someone programmed that lie in there and lied to you and everyone, and all your fundamentals are off. And then everybody said I was crazy. Well, am I crazy or is the calculator broke?
Another aspect that Terence explains is that in a delicate equilibrium, chemicals are essentially nothing more than the motion of either electricity or magnetism. Matter is just motion that originates from two fundamental motions: electricity, a manifestation of centripetal force, a proceeding motion, and magnetism, which arises from centrifugal motion, or moving away from the center. These phenomena are not tangible entities, but rather effects of specific motions. Everything in the universe is spinning to the right or left, contracting or expanding, with each element preceded and succeeded by a noble gas.
Every element has a noble gas that precedes before it and after it. And there are 3 steps to folding an element. And an element is just a pressure condition. It's just a periodic pressure condition. And we say periodic because it repeats itself. Something predictable. When you get this kind of pressure condition, this is the element that will show, or this is the crystallization that will occur. If you get this pressure condition, the crystallization is even tighter. You get this pressure condition, the crystallization is tighter. And we call each of those crystallizations a different element, but it's the same substance under different motion and pressure conditions.
He gave the example of hydrogen. Concerning other elements, shares similarities with carbon, silicon, cobalt, and rhodium regarding their tonal conditions. There is a pattern where certain elements have 3 elements preceding them and 3 elements succeeding them in the periodic table.
If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A should be equal to C. So how is it that hydrogen doesn't have 3 elements that precede before it, and also 3 elements that precede after it before you get to helium? It's an entire octave within itself.
Our perception of elemental relationships might be influenced by our cognitive and physiological processes, such as how we perceive motion. Human perception is minimal when understanding higher states of matter or more dense conditions. The differences hinder our ability to perceive these states in temporal dimensions between us and these states. Hydrogen is the first element we can perceive, but 21 other elements occur before it. These elements are described not as permanent entities, but as conditions or conditional facts. It implies that altering the conditions under which an element exists can result in a different manifestation. For instance, changing the pressure condition of carbon can transform it into nitrogen and oxygen. Despite these changes, the fundamental nature of the element remains the same. For a better understanding, consider that a lab-grown diamond is a fascinating example of transforming carbon from one form into another, more structured form, specifically into a diamond. To make a diamond in a lab, scientists start with the tiny seed of diamond and a form of carbon like graphite. They put these into a machine that creates a very hot and pressurized environment, much like deep inside the earth where natural diamonds form. This intense heat and pressure make the carbon atoms rearrange themselves and grow layer by layer onto the diamond seed. After a few weeks, the carbon turns into a sparkling lab-grown diamond. It's just like a natural diamond, but made by humans. In reality, we only perceive less than 1/2 of 1% of the total spectrum, yet we base our judgments on this limited perception. So human perception is limited in understanding the electromagnetic spectrum, including visible light and other forms of radiation.
We are cosmically blind on a conscious and cosmic level. There's no death on Mars. There's no death on any planet. Everything is alive and just in a different state of distance based on the motion and pressure conditions. But there is no death. Death is the comparable to sleeping, where life is being awake.
Terence continued to explain that we must acknowledge the eternal cycle of existence, where all things participate in the processes of inhaling and exhaling, the exchange of gases in living organisms, and the cycling of matter and energy in ecosystems and the universe at large. It challenges the conventional understanding of electric charge, particularly the idea of being solely negatively charged. When an entity loses its electric